Hurricanes, it means heat waves, it means earthquakes, it means anything. So it don't even happen to be seasonal because the earthquake can hit at any time.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? You see floods, showers, snowstorms, any kind of thing, blizzards, avalanches, all of that. You see, can hit at any time. Another plague can come through and kill off the cracker because you're immune to half the stuff anyway, other than the disease that he creates. And all you have to do is raise your kundalini and do the right thing and you can cure anything. Check. So now, those are when they also had a heat wave in Texas this summer, where they had a heat wave, then they had a thunderstorm, and then the next thing happened was the temperature went all the way to doggone 30 degrees in one day. From a heat wave, almost 100 degrees, a thunderstorm, and the temperature going to 30 degrees in doggone August, 1st of August. You see what I'm saying? So these are the kind of things that's going on. Also, they announced the beginning of servitude slavery on July 23rd. July 23rd is the heroic horizon of Sirius, our new year. They announced the beginning of servitude slavery on CNN channel, showing you certain things about people in slave camps, even though they showed a little bit of black people to throw you off. They was actually announcing the beginning of servitude slavery, which means servitude slavery is the bondage slavery that was ended in, what, 1865. So in 1995, they announced it again in July. You see, in July, right after June 19th also of the latest slavery that was abolished. So they announced they announced this particular slavery on July 23rd, and they did it in a particular way, slavery in America. So when you go into the TV set, you say you just think it's just an individual people that's on some little work camps, but you don't know when they put it out there, because CNN and you know that Ted Turner is one of the head of the Illuminati, get Conspirators Hierarchy, Committee of 300, the book, John Coleman's book, Conspirators Hierarchy. You'll find out that Ted Turner is one of those people because he got to be. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to have a powerful CNN that took over all of the doggone news. So you don't get it now unless it come through CNN, you see. As well as that's the reason why they're the one that's covering this particular choreographed show called the O.J. Simpson trial that they choreographed, and all the players up in there are clones and all kinds of things. We'll get into that later on. Now, we'll get into that later on. But we do know that in actuality, they started back slavery again, and they announced it on July 23rd. Now, they're just waiting for the event to make them justify enslaving the masses of the people, other than a couple of million that they've already got in concentration camps already. And it's not just bums on the street. It's all kinds of people. A lot of people, when they get locked up in jail, they never come out now. So that's the key. Let's say if you get locked, if somebody stop you and lock you up, your people wouldn't know about you being in jail until you make that one phone call. But if they deny you making that one phone call, it'll just be just like a kidnapping, and no one will never know what happened to you. Impound your car and everything. So these are the way they are locking up doggone black people. So the other day I told them to stay out of the doggone jailhouses and buck dance to the cracker if you want to. Hello, yes sir, no ma'am, for the simple fact that you're fighting a greater war and not an ego war to show this man how superior you are when he's killing superior people because he knows how superior you are. You see, so we must become smart thinkers of what we're doing at this particular time. Death is the ultimate dimension. Life is the worst dimension. So therefore, those particular people that's trying to hold on to this old cycle, this old dimension, they are having problems, especially if you are conscious and trying to double back. The problems become even worse now. So the key is to stick with it for the long haul, because we understand that now, by us being in another dimension, as when I go deeper into this information, by us being in another dimension, and on the other hand, by us being in another dimension, and you are thinking about the old cycle, nothing will be conducive, or nothing will also manifest on this particular old cycle that would be pleasant for you. So you must go with the flow. Anytime you go against the currents, you're going to catch hell. So this is some things that's going on here. So we're talking about a new way of thinking, not dressing up in African clothes, not speaking a lingo. It's funny because it's interesting because I see a lot of Afrocentric people, well, brother, it's not Egypt, it's Kemet. You missing the whole damn point. It ain't about when you pronouncing no shit wrong. That's not going to get your doggone reality right. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Hell, we talking in the language, English language. You see what I'm saying? If I give you the complete English language, so who give a doggone whether it's called Kemet or Egypt or whatever? You see what I'm saying? Well, we talking about words of power. You call the gods. You don't even know how to use the damn gods of power because those gods are in you. And you talking about some subjective, some objective God. You understand? That don't exist outside of you. So even speech is a form of the low level. We're talking about thought, putting on the mind of God. So you're going to have a lot of them. That brother, they don't dress right. They'll give you all this type of stuff because everybody want to think that what they're into even is like a brand new toy. So they're going to doggone chastise anybody else that ain't into nothing. You see what I'm saying? So the key is we must understand when we go higher into knowledge, the way you get the knowledge to work for you, to give you a clear understanding is you're not getting the doggone knowledge to put on your shelf, to put in your house like a chandelier or a brand new book or a brand new TV. You're getting in the knowledge to become more compassionate to the ones that you so-called supposed to be getting the knowledge for. And that don't mean because the brothers and sisters ignorant, you beat up on them. Right. You see what I'm saying? That's ego. You understand? If this person is supposed to be dead based on science, he's supposed to be dead based on the cycle, and it says that our people will perish from a lack of knowledge, or our people, the light shine in the darkness, and the darkness comprehend it not. If he's supposed to be dead, then ain't no sense in you beating up on a person that's supposed to be dead. That's like you becoming a damn doctor and getting mad at the damn patient for being sick. He's a patient. You see? So the more knowledge you gain, the more compassion you're supposed to have and the more understanding you're supposed to have for those who are not privy to the knowledge. You're fortunate enough to get the knowledge at this particular time. But you are getting the knowledge because I am, you are. And some of those people, the most dead people, are some of the most powerful guys yet to wake up. You see what I'm saying? Something that's more dominant is sometimes more powerful. You see what I'm saying? More powerful. You see? So now we must understand this particular thing because this whole knowledge thing, a lot of people, they get this whole knowledge thing going. They're only doing it for, that's the end thing now, is to get the knowledge. Case in point, I went to Indiana. You see what I'm saying? And the guy was telling me, met a brother up there. The brother had a room big as this. The entire room, all four corners, filled with books, top to the ceiling. And he had one row that you can step in because he had books piled up off the floor. Where he had run out of wall space and he had books piled off the floor like this and you could barely get in the room. And he's in his 50s, but yet that kind of information was supposed to be applied to the point that you're supposed to be out here teaching the people and giving the people a greater understanding. But for the simple fact that he's holding on to the knowledge as a personal thing, he never gains any knowledge. He just buys books and books and books, but he never gains any knowledge. You see, because the more and more you hold on to the knowledge, the more and more you lose it. The more and more you never understand it. You might understand the greater concept, the first concept of knowledge, that there is greater knowledge on the planet, but to really synthesize the knowledge, you'll never understand the pure gnosis. You understand what I'm saying? So now we have a lot of people out here that's been in the particular conscious movement, and it's only made them more arrogant. You see what I'm saying? The more knowledge you gain, the less you're supposed to let anybody follow you. For the simple fact you feel if you gain this type of damn knowledge, it's the doggone contradiction to say that black people are all this and all that if they need your black ass to lead them some fucking where. So the next time a person that says he's a leader, he say, well, can you mind you? I got a gun here. Can I shoot you first? Well, if you the damn Messiah, let me blow you in the head. And if you bad enough, yeah, it won't mean nothing. It just be like shooting you with a BB gun or a P gun. You see what I'm saying? So that's the key right here. We got so many people that is dealing with egoism. And that's the reason how they can get people to follow them every damn way. What is the sense of Louis Farrakhan leading 1 million black people to Washington, D.C., to tell black people mostly nothing and tell black people what he don't understand in the first damn place? Because if he understood true knowledge, he wouldn't be leading nobody nowhere to no Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, the crackers' capital. You understand what I'm saying? He leading them more into the doggone house of bondage. Check. We'll go deeper into that. We'll go deeper into that in a few minutes. Money and fame inflates ego. That's why you see this movie called I'll Do Anything. We saw it the other day. They make these movies because they're trying to show that money and flame inflates ego. Now, what was that sign we saw on 42nd Street up in New York? What did it say about something about?
Oh, it said,
Oh. It said, what did it say?
you know, people are gullible when something about famous.
Yeah.
When there are famous people in the world.
Yeah, you know people are gullible when they desire fame or something like that.
Famous people.
Yeah, when there are famous people in the world. So what it means is, you're gonna just hold that like that the whole time?
It's screaming. I don't have
yeah. Well, you just gonna hold it?
What if I did like this?
Yeah. You wanna hold it? Yeah, you know. Yeah, I mean, for showmanship, you know, that's just as important.
The only thing is it sounds better on the tape. That's all.
Yeah, no, I'm saying in showmanship, if she does it that way, just hold it. Now, can you hear it still?
Yeah. It's not that close to your mouth.
Yeah.
More close, you know. I don't have a thing.
You left it, huh?
No, I had
Yeah. What about if you put it on his back shelf or something?
It's got to be here.
So you're just going to hold it for 2 or 3 hours?
Go ahead.
You just go ahead and do what you got to do. And then what I'm going to do is try to find the next one.
Okay. All right. So, all right. It's okay, that's cool. All right. Then money and fame inflates the ego. For the simple fact that money is only an object to keep you functioning in the physical society.
That's right.
Ego is only something that you want to tell yourself that I am greater than other people on the physical level, but it's also to say in actuality that I am all that on the physical, which doesn't exist. So it's saying that I am the greatest thing on the illusion level. You see, that's why you want fame. So the ego is going to work against you to keep you on the outside, to keep you from going on the inside. We'll go into more of that on question and answer. Now, there's something called the Sacred 50. So what you want to do is you want to get the book, The Serious Mystery. And in the book, The Serious Mystery, they're going to be talking about the Sacred 50. Now, the Sacred 50, you're going to find out if you add up, I think 1930, I think if you add up 1930 and 1930s and 1950, sometime the same time, and you get the numbers on Elijah Muhammad and also the numbers on Malcolm X, you're going to find out that it's going to be 50 years. It's going to be like a 50 years on these particular numbers and all. These particular numbers is going to break down. The Sacred 50 is also talking about the 50 gates of understanding. And the 50 gates of understanding is also talking about numbers of, they're talking about in the Kabbalah, in the earth sphere, that they're talking about the 50 gates of understanding. I'm going to go deeper into that when I get on into the particular lecture. Right now, we're going to go through a whole lot of topics that we're going to deal with, and we're going to go into a question and answer also, too. Now, I guess I got to stand back like this. Your holy guardian angel. Some people, I asked the people, I said, well, you know, when the Spirit told me that my Kundalini was risen, and I knew it was rose for the simple fact that it used to rise and it used to heat me up, but then all of a sudden it was a natural thing, and I talked about, I said, well, hell, if the Kundalini had rose, as well as the chakras, why am I not God yet, or why can I not do the things that I want to do off of the physical? And they said, well, it prepared your body, it's preparing your body for the guardian angel, the holy guardian angel, which is your higher self, to come in. Which that particular guardian angel is nothing less than what you see the superheroes doing on TV. So with that kind of energy, you know for the simple doggone fact that anybody else is just talking about a political, social, mundane thing, they're only grazing the doggone surface. And actually, they are actually out of the building and where the real power is going down with. So your guardian angel, when you hear that, the holy guardian angel, your higher self that they're talking about at that particular time. Now, it's interesting because I want to read you something. I think I have it. Let me get this particular piece of paper. I want to read you something to show you how prophecy comes. Show you how prophecy comes. It's interesting that there was a particular prophecy that a guy in 1976, right before the inauguration of Jimmy Carter into the presidency, this particular person said that in actuality that Jimmy Carter was the Antichrist. Now, this particular person is looking back into past events where this particular guy was on the radio, and this particular guy was going off about all this stuff about Jimmy Carter. Now, even though the sister is not into what is called the New World Order, she never knew that in actuality that guy that was talking, even though he misconstrued it, a lot of things are misconstrued for the simple fact that we think a lot of things is based on biblical proportions, and that book is not necessarily written for just mundane things as well, but it also is written for prophetic things that's going on anyway. So when he was saying that Jimmy Carter was a form of the Antichrist, well, he was just saying that in actuality, based on this particular person being a psychic, he understood that there was going to be some things that Jimmy Carter was going to do that was going to be on miraculous proportions. Number one, Jimmy Carter is the first one that got the whole thing stirred up with the doggone Ayatollah. You see, with accepting the Shah, and the Shah was an awful dictatorship. You see what I'm saying? But, you know, America, they're not really interested in doggone subduing dictators because they won themselves. And all of them are one and the same, and that's the same game. But on the other hand, we understand that Jimmy Carter, first of all, he was the most loved by black people other than this new nigga we got, Bill Clinton. You see what I'm saying? But I think that Bill Clinton, but see now, he was more loved than Bill Clinton because you have a lot of black people in consciousness now. But remember, by the time 1976, we had totally forgotten about all the 60 movement, and we were thinking he was going to be the great emancipator. So what happened is he was the most loved, but then again, on the other hand, he was one of the most clever because he was a doggone physics person. I think he was a physicist. So therefore, that means that he was probably one of the most brilliant presidents than some of the other ones that was up in there that you deemed as being brilliant. You see what I'm saying? So the problem is because he took this farm boy image and cloaked it behind some kind of Bible, he was able to fool more people. But he was the one that put in the Global 2000 as well as refurbished the concentration camps. He was the one that put in the Atlanta project that's going down based on the Jimmy Carter's presidential library they have down there in Atlanta. He's the one that put in the Atlanta project, where he goes around and build homes for poor people, and they would take 5 years to build homes for poor people and do a certain amount of things for poor people to put one key drive in when he shot up 16,000 black children in Atlanta with the doggone in 1993. So he took 5 years to fool people for that one incident. Now the people are saying this Atlanta project, where did all the money go? And what has become out of it? We got just as many poor people we had 5 years ago. But they didn't understand that the cracker can come in and feed you a certain amount of comfort by building houses for poor project people just to kill those poor project people children. So in actuality, when the guy was doing the prophecy and said that he was the doggone Antichrist, the simple fact, he was reading something that was on a more miraculous proportion of the biblical proportion, but in actuality, he was getting it right up, because even though all white people are a form of the Antichrist, a form of the embodiment of evil, because the real Antichrist is black people, which means the black Christ. Anti, which means nothing, which means black, and Christ, which means light, the yin and the yang, the black Christ. But even though he was, the Christ that he was talking about the embodiment of Satan, which is doggone white people on that particular level as far as the evil entity on this land, but he was picking up some things on Jimmy Carter that he was right about. So when the people laughed about it after Jimmy Carter ran for president, won presidency, and went and left the White House, they was laughing about it, but they didn't understand. He has done more things now in his presidency than he did when he was in the House. Jimmy Carter is the main man that they can use to cloak and go around the world and be the main effective person to kill all the people around the world and keep the doggone people in the world in check. That's right. And he can do these things for the simple fact that he is cloaked as this big old farm boy when they didn't even understand that, first of all, the Illuminati don't even let you get up in the chair not unless you got some type of qualities that's palatable to the marketplace of the Illuminati. You see, so therefore he was one of the main keys that was able to keep on functioning almost damn near 15, 16 years after he's been out of the White House, he's one of the ones behind the scene because he's one of the main people that go in and destabilize countries, you see. So this is one of the main people and all. So therefore, he was one of the key projects, and so they can have one man in the White House, you see what I'm saying, as a showpiece. You see, who is a clone, because now you see his hair is totally white, as a doggone showpiece.
That's right.
You see, but on the other hand, the man is still working for the Illuminati that started the Global 2000 thing to say they got to wipe off 1 billion people on the planet. It's still out there. You see, it's still out there. So therefore, when he was announced as the doggone Antichrist, they would understand he would be the one that would go down in history. So it's black people thinking as the best president they ever had, and he was one of the worst ones. He has killed more black people, you see what I'm saying, than anybody on the doggone planet. You see, so these are some things also too. Some other things that went on was that remember now, about 60-something years ago, you would have the Italian and the Ethiopian war that started in 1935 to 1936. You see, and now this is 1995, 1996, and we're still into this particular cycle because cycles repeat themselves. Now remember the first Italian-Ethiopian war, the Ethiopians whipped the Italians behind. You see, and they could have done it the second time, but Haile Selassie was buck dancing for the cracker and left his country because he was in the bed with the West. And for the simple fact that he didn't consider himself even being black in the first doggone place. You see, and his mind was so much into trying to set up a state like England until he didn't even manifest the energy that was capable of wiping the doggone Mussolini out in the whole time, because they had the Ark of the Covenant. And if he would just believed it, he would have been on better terms. They said when he was even born, he used to go draw a doggone dove on paper, and the dove would fly off the paper. So he had the energy. So when we met up with this guy named Patah Neto Unra, his name is Henry, and we met up with Henry on the mounds last year at this time, around the 1st of September, he said that he had set over Haile Selassie at that particular time. Had Haile Selassie had gone and taken the spiritual route and gone to his higher level, you see, he would have manifested into a viable Christ entity as well, just like Honorable Elijah Muhammad did when he fulfilled his dream, fulfilled his particular duties. Remember now, we are down here not for the simple fact that we're just down here catching hell. Some of you brothers and sisters is waking up now. You have agreed to do this millennia ago. You see, and you are only doing something you agreed to do a long time ago. So therefore, that is the reason why you have been chosen to come open and open up now, for the simple fact you agreed to be the ones that's going to tell your brothers and sisters where to go when the whole shit breaks down. You see what I'm saying? When the other dimension just goes. So therefore, all you are doing is doing what you agreed to do years ago. You see, what you agreed to do years ago. So, there's some things that's going on right now. Let me read something for you at this particular time.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me that, right?
Quickly, here.
That in there. Y'all all right? Okay. Okay. I'm going to keep on till I get real wound up.
Go ahead.
All right. Let's deal with some things. We're going to deal with we're just going to deal with a consortium of all types of things. That's why I urge you to get the cassette, because I'm not going to deal with a format today that leads you up this thing. We're going to deal, because since everybody here is on the frequency, I'm quite sure that I don't have to start from square one with people, because most all the people heard my tapes at this particular time. So we'll deal with a whole lot of things, okay, a whole lot of things at this particular time. Now, let's see. First of all, like I said before, the book
that they call Pharaohs of the Sun. They're dealing with the time period of Akhenaten, Nefertiti, and Tutankhamun. They have over 400 objects that they got from what they call the Armana period. And what I'll be doing is like renting a van, driving down there, the hotel that we hooked into. And I'll talk to Dr. Delbert Blair. And what we'll do is we'll go through the Art Institute, check out their exhibit, and then leave there and go to see Dr. Blair and have him break it down from the correct viewpoint. Because, you know, the European archaeologists go there and they just get the skeletons and, you know, measure the size of the skull and stuff like that. Think they know people, you know. But, now, they don't know nothing, you know. So you have to go to somebody of our family, the melanin-dominant family, to really find out the truth about anything. Even when white folks do have the facts, the raw data, their interpretation is false. On October 1st, I'm bringing Dick Gregory to town. He'll be at the Holiday Inn on Telegraph in Southfield. That'll be a Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. The end of October, I'll be having a what I call a Physician Heal Thyself Festival, where we have just vendors and psychics. You know, it's like my answer to the Body, Mind, and Spirit Festival that's out in Oakland, that Phenomenal has every year. You know, we need to have one down in the city for us, you know. And, you know, you can find out more about those about that and the other things on my telephone hotline, which is 792-2837. I've also talked to Dr. Layla Africa. I'll be bringing him in the middle of November 17th.
Could you do that number again, 792?
Yeah, 792-2837. That's the Jehudi hotline. It's a 24-hour telephone announcement service. And it works just like when you call the movie theaters, you know. Just list the events, the dates, the time, the price, that kind of thing. So, without any more from me, that's it. Today is Bobby Hemmitt. We're going to start off with a question and answer.
All right, we're going to do that before the libation. We're going to do the libation? Okay, good. Before the libation, that's good. That's good. Okay. I'd like to say it's always good to be back in the Motor City. Been hitting a lot of places this summer. LA one weekend, Cleveland one weekend. Just got back from last weekend. I did Trenton and Philadelphia and scooped on through here, you know, bringing this stuff to the people and all. Going out west, going out places, you know, because we talk about that whole frontier is almost 10 years behind the East Coast. So, you know, going out that way and checking out the people out there and all, and they really enjoy it. And I think that's sometimes as we get closer and closer to the consciousness, we take things for granted and just come back down to the diehard fans. So also I like to say that you can consider yourself very fortunate now, even if you are even interested in this type of knowledge now, with so much stuff going on. Very fortunate. Right now they have a big convention down in Atlanta with T.D. Jakes and all, just literally thousands and thousands and thousands of black women. And this is not just no T.D. Jakes put this together. This is straight up government. And the time it fell during the week after the 23rd, the rising of Leo and the whole rising of Sirius and all that type of thing. The way it fell means in actuality that they're planning something to shut down a lot of feminine energy. We'll get into that later on also too. But right now what we want to do is to do something a little different. Is to open up the forum for question and answer, especially for the people that came, that has been here before and heard my tapes and all, because a lot of times the question and answer come and a lot of people leave at a certain time. And although we do have a great question and answers, but I think it's good to break up the monotony and just do things, you know, on a different way sometimes. This is 2000, so what we want to go into right now is you have any type of for the people, you know, any type of, well, it doesn't matter right now because we're talking about a think tank and a forum. So anybody that have any types of questions, and and now is the time to raise your hand and get something out. What's that, brother?
Yeah, welcome, brother.
Yeah.
Pleasure, real pleasure seeing you again.
Okay, brother.
Although our ancestors knew better to embalm or totally mummify high priests, they normally weren't, or not at all.
Yeah.
Has there been any sure remains, or artifacts of Imhotep found anywhere?
I've never seen any. Like I said, it's very rare to see high priests. They got one down in Atlanta. It was one of the first ones I've heard of. They have the Ankh Nakansu, which is the one that Crawley went in and invoked the Book of Law from They got his stela, they got his even sarcophagus. This particular priest, but they don't have the body. They don't have the body, and I'm quite sure they have some priests. They have one that's been on display down in Atlanta from, I think, January up until August. January up until August, up until this month, next month. On loan from Germany or somewhere like that. No, I would not think so. I mean, I wouldn't think so. It was usually preserved for most of the pharaonic aspect and all. You know, the pharaoh is not necessarily the priest; it's honorary. You know what I'm saying? And that was done for a certain purpose. And basically, the whole embalming thing is also to break incarnation, which is a very interesting thing you said. Let's say if you didn't want to get down here, and this is a known fact, even in India. Let's say if you didn't want to come back, then basically what happens is with your soul, when you die, your soul is still in your body. Your spirit leaves. There's a difference between a spirit and a soul. The soul is a whole other dimension that can just basically rest for eons, encased in shit, out there in the bushes or anything like that, until it's trapped in the physical body. It's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother realm. So what happens is when you die, your spirit leaves. Everything down here has a spirit. Not everything has a soul. A soul is a son. That's the difference between white people and us and animals and everything. Everything down here has a spirit. White people are spiritual because they have a spirit, but they don't have a soul. That's the difference. We just automatically think that a spirit and a soul is one and the same, or it all comes together. A soul is a son, a primordial son that existed long before the creation of this particular universe. There was prior worlds, and in order for you to have a soul, you have to exist beyond creation or part of the original star matter or whatever, of that particular terrain. Now, the mummification was